Assam. English pronunciation, ESAEM. Listen is a state in northeastern India, located south of the eastern Himalayas. Assam comprises the Brahmaputra Valley and the Barak Valley along with the Karbi, Anglong and Dima, Hasao districts with an area of 30,285 square miles, 78,440 square kilometers. Assam, along with Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, and Meghalaya, is one of the 7 sister states. Geographically, Assam and these states are connected to the rest of India via a 22 kilometers 14 miles strip of land in West Bengal called the Siliguri Corridor or Chicken's Neck. Assam shares an international border with Bhutan and Bangladesh, and its culture, people and climate are similar to those of Southeast Asia, comprising the elements in India's Look East policy. Assam is known for Assam tea and Assam silk. The first oil well in Asia was drilled here. The state has conserved the one-horned Indian rhinoceros from near extinction, along with the wild water buffalo, pygmy hog, tiger and various species of Asiatic birds. It provides one of the last wild habitats for the Asian elephant. The Bodo economy is aided by wildlife tourism, centered around Kaziranga National Park and Manas National Park, which are World Heritage Sites. Sultry forests are found in the state which, as a result of abundant rainfall, looks green all year round. Assam receives more rainfall compared to most parts of India. This rain feeds the Brahmaputra River, whose tributaries and oxbow lakes provide the region with a hydro-geomorphic and aesthetic environment. Etymology. The precise etymology of Assam came from əʻsæm dynasty. In the classical period and up to the 12th century, the region east of the Karatoya River, largely congruent to present-day Assam, was called Kamarupa, and alternatively, Pragjotisha. In medieval times the Mughals used Assam, Eastern Assam, and Kamrup, Western Assam, and during British colonialism, the English used Assam, though many authors have associated the name with the 13th century Shan invaders. The precise origin of the name is not clear. It was suggested by some that the Sanskrit word asama, unequaled, peerless, etc., was the root, which has been rejected by Karkati, and more recent authors have concurred that it is a latter-day Sanskritization of a native name. Among possible origins are Thai, Akkam, and Bodo. Assam. History. Prehistory. Assam and adjoining regions have evidences of human settlements from all the periods of the Stone Ages. The hills at the height of 1,500 to 2,000 feet, 460 to 615 meters, were popular habitats, probably due to availability of exposed dolerite basalt, useful for tool-making. Mythology. According to a late text, Kalika Purana, c. 9th–10th century AD, the earliest ruler of Assam was Mahirong Danav of the Danava dynasty, which was removed by Naraka of Medela, who established the Naraka dynasty. The last of these rulers, also Naraka, was slain by Krishna. Naraka's son Bhargadatta became the king, who, it is mentioned in the Mahabharata, fought for the Kauravas in the Battle of Kurukshetra with an army of Kiratas, Chinas and dwellers of the eastern coast. Ancient Samudragupta's 4th century Allahabad pillar inscription mentions Kamarupa, Western Assam, and Davika, Central Assam, as frontier kingdoms of the Gupta Empire. Davika was later absorbed by Kamarupa, which grew into a large kingdom that spanned from Karatoya River to near present Sadia and covered the entire Brahmaputra Valley, North Bengal, parts of Bangladesh and, at times, Purnia and parts of West Bengal, ruled by 3 dynasties: Varmanas, c. 350 to 650 CE, Mulchchar dynasty, c. 655 to 900 CE, and Kamarupa Palace, c. 900–100 CE. From their capitals in present-day Guwahati, Pragjotishpura, Tezpur, Harapaswara, and North Guwahati, Durjaya, respectively. All three dynasties claimed their descent from Narakasura, an immigrant from Aryavata, in the reign of the Varman king, Bhaskar Varman, c. 600 to 650 AD. The Chinese traveller Xuanzang visited the region and recorded his travels. Later, after weakening and disintegration, after the Kamarupa Palace, the Kamarupa tradition was somewhat extended till c. 1255 AD by the Lunari, c. 1120–1185 AD, and Luna II, c. 1155 to 1255 AD. Dynasties. Medieval. Three later dynasties. The Ahoms, the Satya and the Kok. The Ahoms, a Thai group, ruled Upper Assam for nearly 600 years, 1228 to 1826 AD, while the Satya rulers, 1187 to 1673 AD, held the regions on the north bank of Brahmaputra with its domain from Vishwanath in the west to Parshuramkund in the east in Upper Assam and in the state of Arunachal Pradesh. The Kok, a Tibeto-Burmese, established sovereignty in c. 1510 AD. The Kok kingdom in western Assam and present North Bengal was at its zenith in the early reign of Narana Rajana, c. 1540 to 1587 AD. It split into two in c. 1581 AD. The western part as a Mophil vassal and the eastern as an AHOM satellite state. Since c. the 13th century AD, the nerve center of AHOM polity was Upper Assam. The kingdom was gradually extended till Karatoya River in the c. 17th or 18th century. It was at its zenith during the reign of Sukrungfara Swargaji Rudrasingha, c. 1696 to 1714 AD. Among other dynasty, the Kacharis, 13th century 1854 AD, ruled from Dikhau River to central and southern Assam and had their capital at Dimapur. The rivalry between the Satyas and Ahoms for the supremacy of eastern Assam led to a series of battles between them from the early 16th century till the start of the 17th century, which saw great loss of men and money. With expansion of AHOM kingdom, by the early 17th century, the Satya areas were annexed and since c. 1536 AD Kacharis remained only in Kashmir and North Kashmir as an AHOM ally, then a competing force. Despite numerous invasions, mostly by the Muslim rulers, no Western power ruled Assam until the arrival of the British. Though the Mughals made 17 attempts to invade, they were never successful. The most successful invader, Mir Jumla, a governor of Aurangzeb, briefly occupied Gargaon, c. 1662 to 63 AD, the then capital, but found it difficult to control people, making guerrilla attacks on his forces, forcing them to leave. The decisive victory of the Assamese led by the great general Lakat Borphukan on the Mughals, then under command of Raja Ram Singh at Surayat, 1671, had almost ended Mughal ambitions in this region. Mughals were finally expelled from Lower Assam during the reign of Gadadhar Singh in 1682 AD. Colonial era. The discovery of Camellia sinensis in 1834 in Assam was followed by its tests in 1836–37 in London. The British allowed companies to rent land from 1839 onwards. Thereafter tea plantations mushroomed in eastern Assam, where the soil and the climate were most suitable. Problems with the imported labourers from China and hostilities of native Assamese resulted in migration of forced labourers from central and eastern parts of India. After initial trial and error with planting the Chinese and the Assamese Chinese hybrid varieties, the planters later accepted the local Camellia assamica as the most suitable one for Assam. By the 1850s, the industry started seeing some profits. Industry saw initial growth when, in 1861, investors were allowed to own land in Assam, and it saw substantial progress with invention of new technologies and machinery for preparing processed tea during the 1870s. Despite the commercial success, tea laborers continued to be exploited, working and living under poor conditions. Fearful of greater government interference, the tea growers formed the Indian Tea Association in 1888 to lobby to retain the status quo. The organization was very successful in this, and even after India's independence, conditions of the laborers have improved very little. In the later part of the 18th century, religious tensions and atrocities of nobles led to the Moa-Moria rebellion, resulting in tremendous casualties of lives and property. The rebellion was suppressed, but the kingdom was severely weakened by the civil war. Political rivalry between Prime Minister Purnananda Burhagohain and Badan Chandra Borphukan, the AHOM Viceroy of Western Assam, led to the invitation to the Burmese by the latter, in turn leading to 3 successive Burmese invasions of Assam. The reigning monarch Chandrakanta Singha tried to check the Burmese invaders, but he was defeated. After fierce resistance, a reign of terror was unleashed by the Burmese on the Assamese people, who fled to neighbouring kingdoms and British-ruled Bengal. The Burmese reached the East India Company's borders, and the First Anglo-Burmese War ensued in 1824. The war ended under the Treaty of Yandabo in 1826, with the company taking control of Western Assam and installing Puranda Singha as King of Upper Assam in 1833. The arrangement lasted till 1838, and thereafter the British gradually annexed the entire region. Initially Assam was made a part of the Bengal Presidency. Then in 1906 it was a part of Eastern Bengal and Assam Province, and in 1912 it was reconstituted into a Chief Commissioner's Province. In 1913, a Legislative Council, and in 1937, the Assam Legislative Assembly were formed in Shillong, the erstwhile capital of the region. The British tea planters imported labour from central India, adding to the demographic canvas. After a few initial unsuccessful attempts to gain independence for Assam during the 1850s, anti-colonial Assamese joined and actively supported the Indian National Congress against the British from the early 20th century, with Gopinath Bordoloi emerging as the preeminent nationalist leader in the Assam Congress. Bordoloi's major political rival in this time was Sir Saidullah, who was representing the Muslim League, and had the backing of the influential Muslim cleric Maulana Baizani. The Assam territory was first separated from Bengal in 1874 as the Northeast Frontier Non-Regulation Province, also known as the Assam Chief Commissionership. It was incorporated into the new province of Eastern Bengal and Assam in 1905 after the partition of Bengal, 1905 to 1911, and re-established in 1912 as Assam Province. The Assam Postage Circle was established by 1873 under the headship of the Deputy Postmaster General. At the turn of the 20th century, British India consisted of 8 provinces that were administered either by a governor or a lieutenant governor. The Assam province was one among major 8 provinces of British India. The table hereafter shows the major original provinces during British India covering the Assam province under Administrative Office of Chief Commissioner. The following table lists their areas and populations. It does not include those of the dependent native states. With the partition of India in 1947, Assam became a constituent state of India. The district of Sylhet of Assam, excluding the Karimganj subdivision, was given up to East Pakistan, which later became Bangladesh. Modern history. The Government of India, which has the unilateral powers to change the borders of a state, divided Assam into several states since 1970 to satisfy national aspirations of the tribal populations living within the then borders of then Assam. In 1963, the Naga Hills district became the 16th state of India under the name of Nagaland. Part of Tunsang was added to Nagaland. In 1970, in response to the demands of the tribal peoples of the Meghalaya Plateau, the districts embracing the Khasi Hills, Jaintia Hills, and Garo Hills were formed into an autonomous state within Assam. In 1972 it became a separate state under the name of Meghalaya. In 1972, Arunachal Pradesh, the Northeast Frontier Agency, and Mizoram, from the Mizo Hills in the south, were separated from Assam as union territories. Both became states in 1986. Since the restructuring of Assam after independence, communal tensions and violence remain there. Separatist groups began forming along ethnic lines, and demands for autonomy and sovereignty grew, resulting in fragmentation of Assam. In 1961, the government of Assam passed a legislation making use of the Assamese language compulsory. It was withdrawn later under pressure from Bengali-speaking people in Kashmir. In the 1980s, the Brahmaputra Valley saw a 6-year Assam agitation triggered by the discovery of a sudden rise in registered voters on electoral rolls. It tried to force the government to identify and deport foreigners illegally migrating from neighboring Bangladesh and changing the demographics. The agitation ended after an accord between its leaders and the union government, which remained unimplemented, causing simmering discontent. The post-1970s experienced the growth of armed separatist groups like United Liberation Front of Assam, ULFA, and National Democratic Front of Bodo, NDFB. In November 1990, the Government of India deployed the Indian Army, after which low-intensity military conflicts and political homicides have been continuing for more than a decade. In recent times, ethnicity-based militant groups have grown. Regional autonomy has been ensured for Bodo Kachari community in Bodo and Territorial Council areas, BTC, for the Karbis in Karbi Anglong and for the people of Dima Hasao district under the 6th schedule, and autonomous district councils, ADC, areas under Indian constitution, while non-6th schedule states in the northeast were under 73rd and 74th amendments. Panchayati Raj institutions have been applied in Assam, excluding Karbi Anglong Autonomous District Council and North Kashmir Hills Autonomous Council. After agitation of the communities due to sluggish rate of development and general apathy of successive state governments towards indigenous communities. Geography. A significant geographical aspect of Assam is that it contains 3 of 6 physiographic divisions of India: the northern Himalayas, eastern hills, the northern plains, Brahmaputra Plain, and Deccan Plateau. Karbi Anglong. As the Brahmaputra flows in Assam, the climate here is cold and there is rainfall most of the month. Geomorphic studies conclude that the Brahmaputra, the lifeline of Assam, is an antecedent river, older than the Himalayas. The river, with steep gorges and rapids in Arunachal Pradesh entering Assam, becomes a braided river, at times 10 miles, 16 kilometers wide, and with tributaries, creates a floodplain. Brahmaputra Valley, 50 to 60 miles, 80 to 100 kilometers wide, 600 miles, 1,000 kilometers long. The hills of Karbi Anglong, North Kashmir, and those in and close to Guwahati, also Khasi Garo Hills, now eroded and dissected, are originally parts of the South Indian Plateau system. In the south, the Barak originating in the Bareil Range, Assam-Nagaland border, flows through the Kasha district with a 25 to 30 miles, 40 to 50 kilometers, wide valley and enters Bangladesh with the name Surma River. Urban centers include Guwahati, one of the 100 fastest-growing cities in the world. Guwahati is the gateway to the northeast India. Silchar, in the Barak Valley, the second most populous city in Assam and an important center of business, education and tourism. Other large cities include Dibrugarh, oil, natural gas, tea and tourism industry, and Jorhat. Climate. With the tropical monsoon rainforest climate, Assam is temperate. Summer max at 95 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit to 35 to 38 degrees Celsius, and winter min at 43 to 46 degrees Fahrenheit to 6 to 8 degrees Celsius, and experiences heavy rainfall and high humidity. The climate is characterized by heavy monsoon downpours reducing summer temperatures and affecting foggy nights and mornings in winters, frequent during the afternoons. Spring, March to April, and autumn, Sept to October, are usually pleasant with moderate rainfall and temperature. Assam's agriculture usually depends on the southwest monsoon rains. Flooding every year. Flooding from the Brahmaputra and other rivers deluges places in Assam. The water levels of the rivers rise because of rainfall, resulting in the rivers overflowing their banks and engulfing nearby areas. Apart from houses and livestock being washed away by floodwater, bridges, railway tracks and roads are also damaged by the calamity, which causes communication breakdown in many places. Fatalities are also caused by the natural disaster in many places of the state. Fauna. Assam is one of the richest biodiversity zones in the world and consists of tropical rainforests, deciduous forests, riverine grasslands, bamboo orchards and numerous wetland ecosystems. Many are now protected as national parks and reserve forests. Assam has wildlife sanctuaries, the most prominent of which are two UNESCO World Heritage Sites: the Kaziranga National Park, on the bank of the Brahmaputra River, and the Manas Wildlife Sanctuary, near the border with Bhutan. The Kaziranga is a refuge for the fast-disappearing Indian one-horned rhinoceros. The state is the last refuge for numerous other endangered and threatened species, including the white-winged wood duck Adiohan, Bengal florican, black-breasted parrabill, red-headed vulture, white-rumped vulture, greater adjutant, Jerdon's babbler, rufous-necked hornbill, Bengal tiger, Asian elephant, pygmy hog, gaur, wild water buffalo, Indian hog deer, hoolock gibbon, golden langur, capped langur, barasingha, Ganges river dolphin, Barker snakehead, Ganges shark, Burmese python, Brahmani river turtle, black pond turtle, Asian forest tortoise, and Assam roof turtle. Threatened species that are extinct in Assam include the gharial, a critically endangered fish-eating crocodilian, and the pink-headed duck, which may be extinct worldwide. For the state bird, the white-winged wood duck, Assam is a globally important area. In addition to the above, there are three other national parks in Assam, namely Dibru-Sakhora National Park, Nameri National Park and the Orang National Park. Assam has conserved the one-horned Indian rhinoceros from near extinction, along with the pygmy hog, tiger and numerous species of birds, and it provides one of the last wild habitats for the Asian elephant. Kaziranga and Manas are both World Heritage Sites. The state contains sal-tree forests and forest products, much depleted from earlier times. A land of high rainfall, Assam displays greenery. The Brahmaputra River tributaries and Oxbow lakes provide the region with hydro-geomorphic environment. The state has the largest population of the wild water buffalo in the world. The state has the highest diversity of birds in India with around 820 species. With subspecies the number is as high as 946. The mammal diversity in the state is around 190 species. Flora. Assam is remarkably rich in orchid species and the foxtail orchid is the state flower of Assam. The recently established Kaziranga National Orchid and Biodiversity Park boasts more than 500 of the estimated 1314 orchid species found in India. Geology. Assam has petroleum, natural gas, coal, limestone and other minor minerals such as magnetic quartzite, kaolin, sillimanites, clay and feldspar. A small quantity of iron ore is available in western districts. Discovered in 1889. All the major petroleum gas reserves are in upper parts. A recent USGS estimate shows 399 million barrels, 63,400,000 cubic meters, of oil, 1,178 billion cubic feet, 3.34 times 1,010 cubic meters, of gas and 67 million barrels, 10,700,000 cubic meters, of natural gas liquids in the Assam geologic province. The region is prone to natural disasters like annual floods and frequent mild earthquakes. Strong earthquakes were recorded in 1869, 1897, and 1950. Demographics. Population. Total population of Assam was 26.66 million with 4.91 million households in 2001. Higher population concentration was recorded in the districts of Kamrup, Nagaon, Sonitpur, Barpeta, Dhubri, Darang. In Kasha, Assam's population was estimated at 28.67 million in 2006 and at 30.57 million in 2011, and is expected to reach 34.18 million by 2021 and 35.60 million by 2026. As per 2011 census, total population of Assam was 31,169,272. The total population of the state has increased from 26,638,407 to 31,169,272 in the last 10 years, with a growth rate of 16.93%. Of the 32 districts, 8 districts registered rise in the decadal population growth rate. Religious minority-dominated districts like Dhubri, Golpara, Barpeta, Moregaon, Nagaon, and Hailakandi recorded growth rates ranging from 20% to 24% during the last decade. Eastern Assam districts including Shivasagar and Jorhat registered around 9% population growth. These districts do not share any international border. In 2011, literacy rate in the state was 73.18%. Male literacy rate was 78.81% and female literacy rate was 67.27%. In 2001, the census had recorded literacy in Assam at 63.3%, with male literacy at 71.3% and female at 54.6%. Urbanization rate was recorded at 12.9%. Growth of population in Assam has risen since the mid-decades of the 20th century. Population grew from 3.29 million in 1901 to 6.70 million in 1941. It increased to 14.63 million in 1971 and 22.41 million in 1991. The growth in the western and southern districts was high primarily due to the influx of people from East Pakistan, now Bangladesh. The mistrust and clashes between native Bodos and Bengali Muslims started as early as 1952, but is rooted in anti-Bengali sentiments of the 1940s. At least 77 people died and 400,000 people was displaced in the 2012 Assam violence between indigenous Bodos and Bengali Muslims. The People of India project has studied 115 of the ethnic groups in Assam. 69% identify themselves regionally, 19% locally, and 3% transnationally. The earliest settlers were Austroasiatic and Dravidian speakers, followed by Tibeto-Burman, Indo-Aryan speakers, and Tai-Kadai speakers. 45 languages are spoken by different communities, including 3 major language families: Austroasiatic, 5, Sino-Tibetan, 24, and Indo-European, 12. 3 of the spoken languages do not fall in these families. There is a high degree of bilingualism. Religions. Assam has no official religion. Assam is a secular state. According to the 2011 census, 61.47% were Hindus, 34.22% were Muslims. Christian minorities, 3.7%. are found among scheduled tribe population. Scheduled tribe population in Assam is around 13%, in which Bodos account for 40%. Other religions followed include Jainism, 0.1%, Buddhism, 0.2%, Sikhism, 0.1%, and animism. Amongst Kati, Fake, Itan etc. communities, many Hindus in Assam are followers of Ekasarana Dharma, a sect of Hinduism that gave rise to Namgar, designed to be simpler places of worship than traditional Hindu temples. Out of 32 districts of Assam, 9 are Muslim majority according to the 2011 census of India. The districts are Dhubri, Golpara, Barpeta, Moregaon, Nagaon, Karimganj, Hailakandi, Durang and Bongaigaon. Languages. Assamese and Bodo are the major indigenous and official languages, while Bengali holds official status in the 3 districts in the Barak Valley and is the second most widely spoken language of the state, 27.5%. Traditionally, Assamese was the language of the commons, of mixed origin, Austroasiatic, Tibeto-Burman, Prakrit, in the ancient Kamarupa and in the medieval kingdoms of Karmatapur, Kachari, Satiya, Barahi, Ahom and Kok. Traces of the language are found in many poems by Luipa, Serarapa, etc. in Chayapada, c. 7th–8th century AD. Modern dialects Kamrupi, Golpriya etc. are the remnants. Moreover, Assamese in its traditional form was used by the ethno-cultural groups in the region as lingua franca, which spread during the stronger kingdoms and was required for needed economic integration. Localized forms of the language still exist in Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh. The form used in the Upper Assam was enriched by the advent of Taishans in the 13th century. Linguistically, modern Assamese traces its roots to the version developed by the American missionaries based on the local form in practice near Shivasagar, Zwoxagor district. Assamese, Oxamia, is a rich language due to its hybrid nature with its unique characteristics of pronunciation and softness. Assamese literature is one of the richest. The word Dimasa etymologically translates to son of the big river, Di water, Ma suffix for great, Sa sons, the river being the mighty Brahmaputra. The Dimasa word Di for water forms the root word for many of the major rivers of Assam and the northeast India, like Dikrang, which means green river, Dikhao, which means fetched water, Diung, huge river, etc. The Brahmaputra River is known as Dilao, long river. Among the Dimasas, many of the towns and cities in Assam and Nagaland derived their names from Dimasa words. For example, Dimapur, a capital of Dimasa Kingdom, Dispur, Hojari, Diffu and Kaspur. Bodo is an ancient language of Assam. Spatial distribution patterns of the ethno-cultural groups, cultural traits and the phenomenon of naming all the major rivers in the northeast region with Bodo Kachari words, e.g. Dying, Dibru, Diong, D. Teesta, Digrai, etc., reveal that it was the most important language in the ancient times. Bodo is now spoken largely in the western Assam, Bodo Territorial Council area. After years of neglect, now Bodo language is getting attention and its literature is developing. Other native languages of Tibeto-Burman origin and related to Bodo Kachari are Diori, 2, Mising, Karbi, Rabba, and Tiwa. Kuki is another native language of Assam belonging to the Tibeto-Burman group. However, it does not belong to the Bodo Kachari group. There are approximately 7 lakhs Nepali speakers spread all over the state, forming about 2.2% of Assam's total population. Majority of the Nepali speakers are found in the district of Sonitpur, where over 3 lakh people speaks in Nepali language. There are speakers of Thai languages in Assam. A total of 6 Thai language were spoken in Assam. 2 are now extinct: Thai Phake, Thai Itan, Kati, Kamyang, critically endangered; Ahom, extinct; Turung, extinct. Government and politics. Assam Legislative Assembly. As of June 2016, the state has 35 administrative districts. On August 15, 2015, 5 new districts were formed in addition to former 27 districts. The 5 new districts are Biswanath, carved out of Sonitpur; Karodeo, of Shivasagar; Hajari, of Nagaon; South Salmara Mankachar, of Dhubri; and West Karbi Anglong, of Karbi Anglong. On June 27, 2016, Majuli declared as district, first river island district of India. These districts are further subdivided into 54 subdivisions, or mohkuma. Every district is administered from a district headquarters with the office of the Deputy Commissioner, District Magistrate, office of the District Panchayat, and usually with a district court. The districts are delineated on the basis of the features such as the rivers, hills, forests, etc., and majority of the newly constituted districts are subdivisions of the earlier districts. Local government. The local governance system is organized under the Jila Parishad. District Panchayat, for a district; Panchayat for group of or individual rural areas, and under the urban local bodies for the towns and cities. There are now 2,489 village panchayats covering 26,247 villages in Assam. The Town Committee, or Nagar Samiti for small towns, Municipal Board, or Pauro Sabha for medium towns, and Municipal Corporation, or Pauro Nigam for the cities consist of the urban local bodies. For the revenue purposes, the districts are divided into revenue circles and musas. For the development projects, the districts are divided into 219 development blocks, and for law and order these are divided into 206 police stations at Thana. As on the 19th of May 2016, BJP under the leadership of Sarbananda Sonowal won the assembly elections, thus forming the first BJP-led government in Assam. Guwahati is the largest metropolitan area and urban conglomeration administered under the highest form of urban local body, Guwahati Municipal Corporation in Assam. The corporation administers an area of 216.79 square kilometers. All other urban centers are managed under municipal boards. A list of 8 oldest recognized, classified, prominent and constantly inhabited urban centers before Indian independence based on the earliest years of formation of the civic bodies is tabulated below. Education. Assam schools are run by the Indian government or by private organizations. Medium of instruction is mainly in Assamese, English or Bengali. Most of the schools follow the state's examination board, which is called the Secondary Education Board of Assam. Almost all private schools follow the Central Board for Secondary Education, CBSE, Indian Certificate of Secondary Education, ICSE, and Indian School Certificate, ISC. Syllabuses. Assamese language is the main medium in educational institutions, but Bengali language is also taught as a major Indian language in Guwahati and Digboi. Many junior, basic school and junior high school are Nepali linguistic, and all the teachers are British Gorkha. Nepali is included by Assam State Secondary Board, Assam Higher Secondary Education Council and Guwahati University in their HSLC, higher secondary and graduation level respectively. In some junior basic and higher secondary schools and colleges, Nepali language-speaking British Gorkha teachers and lecturers are appointed. The capital, Dispur, contains institutions of higher education for students of the northeastern region. Cotton College, Guwahati, dates back to the 19th century. Assam has several institutions for tertiary education and research. Universities, colleges and institutions include universities: Assam Agricultural University, Jorhat; Don Bosco University, private; Assam Downtown University, private; Assam University, Silchar; Assam Women's University, Jorhat; Bodoland University, Kokrajhar; Dibrugarh University, Dibrugarh; Guwahati University, Guwahati; Indian Institute of Technology, Guwahati; deemed Institute of National Importance, Indian Statistical Institute, Tezpur; Kaziranga University, Jorhat, private; National Institute of Technology, Silchar; deemed Institute of National Importance, National Law University and Judicial Academy, Assam; Tezpur University, Tezpur; medical colleges, Assam Medical College and Dibrugarh; Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed Medical College, Barpeta; Guwahati Medical College and Hospital in Guwahati; Jorhat Medical College and Hospital, Jorhat; Lokopriya Gopinath Bordaloi Regional Institute of Mental Health, Tezpur; Central Government Institute, Regional Dental College, Guwahati; Silchar Medical College and Hospital, Silchar; Tezpur Medical College and Hospital, Tezpur; Engineering and Technological Colleges, Assam Engineering College in Guwahati; Assam Science and Technology University, Bineswar Brahma Engineering College, Kokrajhar; Central Institute of Plastics Engineering and Technology, India; Changsari, near Guwahati; Central Institute of Technology, Kokrajhar; Girijananda Chowdhury Institute of Management and Technology, Guwahati; Girijananda Chowdhury Institute of Management and Technology, Tezpur; Indian Institute of Information Technology, Guwahati; Indian Institute of Technology in Guwahati; Institute of Engineering and Technology, Dibrugarh University; Institute of Science and Technology, Guwahati University; Jorhat Institute of Science and Technology, Jorhat; Jorhat Engineering College and Jorhat; National Institute of Technology, Silchar; NETES Institute of Technology and Science Mirza; Scholars Institute of Science and Technology; Agriculture Colleges, Biswanath College of Agriculture, Biswanath Cheriali; College of Agriculture, Jorhat; College of Fishery Science, Raha; College of Home Science, Jorhat; College of Horticulture, Nalbari; College of Sericulture, Titabar; College of Veterinary Science, Karnapara; Law Colleges, A.K. Chanda Law College, Tarapur, Silchar; Bongaigaon Law College, Bongaigaon; Barpeta Law College, Barpeta District, BRM Government Law College, Dhubri Law College, Dhubri, Diffu Law College, Karbi Anglong, Dispur Law College, Guwahati, Kamrup, Golpara Law College, Golpara, Golaghat Law College, Golaghat, J.B. Law College, Guwahati, Kamrup, Jorhat Law College, Dohabara, Jorhat, Kokrajhar Law College, Kokrajhar, BTAD, Nalbari Law College, Nalbari, Nagaon Law College, Guwahati, Kamrup, NEF Law College, Guwahati, Kamrup, Tezpur Law College, Sonatpur, Tinsukia Law College, Tinsukia District. Research institutes present in the state include National Research Centre on Pig, ICAR, in Guwahati. Economy. Assam's economy is based on agriculture and oil. Assam produces more than half of India's tea. The Assam-Arakan Basin holds about a quarter of the country's oil reserves, and produces about 12% of its total petroleum. According to the recent estimates, Assam's per capita GDP is 6,157 rupees at constant prices, 1993-94, and 10,198 rupees at current prices, almost 40% lower than that in India. According to the recent estimates, per capita income in Assam has reached 6,756 rupees, 1993-94 constant prices, in 2004-05, which is still much lower than India's. Tea plantations. Macroeconomy. The economy of Assam today represents a unique juxtaposition of backwardness amidst plenty, despite its rich natural resources, and supplying of up to 25% of India's petroleum needs. Assam's growth rate has not kept pace with that of India. The difference has increased rapidly since the 1970s. The Indian economy grew at 6% per annum over the period of 1981 to 2000. The growth rate of Assam was only 3.3%. In the sixth plan period, Assam experienced a negative growth rate of 3.78% when India's was positive at 6%. In the post-liberalized era, after 1991, the difference widened further. According to recent analysis, Assam's economy is showing signs of improvement. In 2001-02, the economy grew, at 1993-94 constant prices, at 4.5%, falling to 3.4% in the next financial year. During 2003-04 and 2004-05, the economy grew, at 1993-94 constant prices, at 5.5% and 5.3% respectively. The advanced estimates place the growth rate for 2005-06 at above 6%. Assam's GDP in 2004 is estimated at $13 billion in current prices. Sectoral analysis again exhibits a dismal picture. The average annual growth rate of agriculture, which was 2.6% per annum over the 1980s, has fallen to 1.6% in the 1990s. The manufacturing sector showed some improvement in the 1990s with a growth rate of 3.4% per annum than 2.4% in the 1980s. For the past 5 decades, the tertiary sector has registered the highest growth rates of the other sectors, which even has slowed down in the 1990s than in the 1980s. Employment. Unemployment is one of the major problems of Assam, which can be attributed to overpopulation and a faulty education system. Every year, large numbers of students obtain higher academic degrees, but because of non-availability of proportional vacancies, most of these students remain unemployed. A number of employers hire overqualified or efficient, but undercertified candidates, or candidates with narrowly defined qualifications. The problem is exacerbated by the growth in the number of technical institutes in Assam, which increases the unemployed community of the state. Many job seekers are ineligible for jobs in sectors like railways and oil India by the appointment of candidates from outside Assam to those posts. Reduction of the unemployed has been threatened by illegal immigration from Bangladesh. This has increased the workforce without a commensurate increase in jobs. Immigrants compete with local workers for jobs at lower wages, particularly in construction, domestics, rickshaw pullers, and vegetable sellers. The government has been identifying via NRC and deporting illegals. Continued immigration is exceeding deportation. Agriculture. In Assam, among all the productive sectors, agriculture makes the highest contribution to its domestic sectors, accounting for more than a third of Assam's income and employs 69% of workforce. Assam's biggest contribution to the world is Assam tea. It has its own variety, Camellia assamica. The state produces rice, rapeseed, mustard seed, jute, potato, sweet potato, banana, papaya, areca nut, sugarcane and turmeric. Assam's agriculture is yet to experience modernization in a real sense, with implications for food security. Per capita food grain production has declined in the past 5 decades. Productivity has increased marginally, but is still low compared to highly productive regions. For instance, the yield of rice, staple food of Assam, was just 1,531 kilograms per hectare against India's 1,927 kilograms per hectare in 2001, which itself is much lower than Egypt's 9,283, US's 7,279, South Korea's 6,838, Japan's 6,635 and China's 6,131 kilograms per hectare in 2001. On the other hand, after having strong domestic demand, and with 1.5 million hectares of inland water bodies, numerous rivers and 165 varieties of fishes, fishing is still in its traditional form and production is not self-sufficient. The Assam Agricultural University is located at Jorhat, Assam. Flood in Assam greatly affects the farmers and the families dependent on agriculture because of large-scale damage of agricultural fields and crops by floodwater. Industry, hand-looming and handicraft continue. Assam's proximity to some neighboring countries such as Bangladesh, Nepal and Bhutan benefits its trade. The major border checkpoints through which border trade flows to Bangladesh from Assam are Sutarkandi, Karimganj, Dhubri, Mankachar, Dhubri, and Golokganj. To facilitate border trade with Bangladesh, border trade centers have been developed at Sutarkandi and Mankachar. It has been proposed in the 11th five-year plan to set up 2 more border trade centers. One at Ledo connecting China and other at Darang connecting Bhutan. There are several land customs stations, LCS, in the state bordering Bangladesh and Bhutan to facilitate border trade. The Government of India has identified some thrust areas for industrial development of Assam. Although the region in the eastern periphery of India is landlocked and is linked to the mainland by the narrow Siliguri Corridor, or the Chicken's Neck, improved transport infrastructure in all the 3 modes, rail, road and air, and developing urban infrastructure in the cities and towns of Assam are giving a boost to the entire industrial scene. The Lokpriya Gopinath Bordoloi International Airport at Guwahati, although is yet to be fully functional with international flights, was the 12th busiest airport of India in 2012. The cities of Guwahati in the west and Dibrugarh in the east with good rail, road and air connectivity are the 2 important nerve centers of Assam. to be selected by Asian Development Bank for providing $200 million for improvement of urban infrastructure. Assam is a producer of crude oil and it accounts for about 15% of India's crude output, exploited by the Assam Oil Company Limited, and natural gas in India, and is the second place in the world, after Titusville in the United States, where petroleum was discovered. Asia's first successful mechanically drilled oil well was drilled in Makam way back in 1867. Most of the oil fields are located in the eastern Assam region. Assam has 4 oil refineries in Digboi, Asia's first and world's second refinery, Guwahati, Bongaigaon and New Maligarh, with a total capacity of 7 million metric tons, 7.7 million short tons, per annum. Asia's first refinery was set up at Digboi, and discoverer of Digboi oil field was the Assam Railways and Trading Company Limited, AR&T Co. Limited, a registered company of London in 1881. One of the biggest public sector oil company of the country, Oil India Limited, has its plant and headquarters at Dhuli, Asian. There are several other industries, including a chemical fertilizer plant at Namrup, petrochemical industries at Namrup and Bongaigaon, paper mills at Jaggi Road, Hindustan Paper Corporation Limited, township area Panchgram and Jogiopa, sugar mills at Baru Abam and Gaon, Chargola, Kanpur, cement plant at Bokhajan and Badapur, cosmetics plant of Hindustan Unilever, Hull, at Dima, etc. Moreover, there are other industries such as jute mill, textile and yarn mills, Assam silk, and silk mills. Many of these industries are facing loss and closure due to lack of infrastructure and improper management practices. Tourism, wildlife, cultural, and historical destinations have attracted visitors. Culture. Assamese culture is traditionally a hybrid one developed due to assimilation of ethno-cultural groups in the past. Therefore, both local elements and the local elements in Sanskritized forms are distinctly found. The major milestones in evolution of Assamese culture are assimilation in the Kamarupa kingdom for almost 700 years, under the Varmins for 300 years, Salastambas and Palas for each 200 years, establishment of the Satya dynasty in the 12th century in eastern Assam and assimilation for next 400 years, establishment of the əʻsæm dynasty in the 13th century AD and assimilation for next 600 years, assimilation in the Kok kingdom, 15th–16th century AD, of western Assam and Kachari kingdom, 12th–18th century AD, of central and southern Assam. Vaishnava movement led by Srimanta Shankardeva, Songkorju, and its contribution in cultural changes. Vaishnava movement, the 15th century religio-cultural movement under the leadership of great Srimanta Sankardeva, Songkorju, and his disciples have provided another dimension to Assamese culture. A renewed Hinduization in local forms took place, which was initially greatly supported by the Kok and later by the əʻsæm kingdoms. The resultant social institutions such as Namgyal and Satra, the Vaishnav monasteries, have become part of Assamese way life. The movement contributed greatly towards language, literature and performing and fine arts. The modern culture was influenced by events in the British and the post-British era. The language was standardized by the American Baptist missionaries such as Nathan Brown, Dr. Miles Bronson and local pundits such as Hemchandra Barua, with the former available in the Sibsagar, Shivasagar district, the ex-nerve center of the əʻsæm kingdom. Increasing efforts of standardization in the 20th century alienated the localized forms present in different areas and with the less assimilated ethno-cultural groups. Many source cultures. However, Assamese culture in its hybrid form and nature is one of the richest. still developing and in true sense is a cultural system with subsystems. It is interesting that many source cultures of Assamese cultural system are still surviving either as subsystems or as sister entities, e.g., the tribal minorities such as Bodo, Karbi and Mishing. It is important to keep the broader system closer to its roots and at the same time to focus on development of the subsystems. Some of the common and unique cultural traits in the region are people's respect towards areca nut and betel leaves, symbolic, gamosa, arnai, etc. Traditional silk garments, e.g., mekhala chador, traditional dress of Assamese women, and towards forefathers and elderly. Moreover, great hospitality and bamboo culture are common. Symbols. Symbolism is an ancient cultural practice in Assam and is still a very important part of Assamese way of life. Various elements are being used to represent beliefs, feelings, pride, identity, etc. Tamalpan, Zorai and Gamosa are three important symbolic elements in Assamese culture. Tamalpan, the areca nut and betel leaves, or guapan, gua from Kwa, are considered along with the gamosa, a typical woven cotton or silk cloth with embroidery, as the offers of devotion, respect and friendship. The Tamalpan tradition is an ancient one and is being followed since time immemorial with roots in the Aboriginal Austroasiatic culture. Zorai is a traditionally manufactured bell metal article of great respect and is used as a container medium while performing respectful offers. Moreover, symbolically many ethno-cultural groups use specific clothes to portray respect and pride. There were many other symbolic elements and designs, but are now only found in literature, art, sculpture, architecture, etc., or in use today for only religious purposes. The typical designs of Assamese lion, dragon, flying lion, Hindi Udta shur, etc., were used for symbolizing various purposes and occasions. The archaeological sites such as the Madan Kamdev, c. 9th–10th centuries AD, exhibits mass-scale use of lions, dragon lions and many other figures of demons to showcase power and prosperity. The Vaishnava monasteries and many other architectural sites of late medieval period display the use of lions and dragons for symbolic effects. Festivals and traditions. There are diversified important traditional festivals in Assam. Bihu is the most important and common and celebrated all over Assam. It is the Assamese New Year celebrated in April of the Gregorian calendar. Durga Puja is another festival celebrated with great enthusiasm. Muslims celebrate two Eids, Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha, with much eagerness all over Assam. Bihu is a series of three prominent festivals, primarily a non-religious festival celebrated to mark the seasons and the significant points of a cultivator's life over a yearly cycle. 3 Bihus, Romalia Bohag, celebrated with the coming of spring and the beginning of the sowing season. Kongalia Kati, the barren Bihu when the fields are lush but the barns are empty. And the Bogalia Ma, the Thanksgiving when the crops have been harvested and the barns are full. Bihu songs and Bihu dance are associated to Romali Bihu. The day before each Bihu is known as Uruka. The first day of Romali Bihu is called Guru Bihu, the Bihu of the cows, when the cows are taken to the nearby rivers or ponds to be bathed with special care. In recent times the form and nature of celebration has changed with the growth of urban centers. Waisagu is one of the popular seasonal festival of the Bodos. Waisagu, start of the new year or age. Baisagu is a Bora word which originated from the word Baisa, which means year or age, Ang, Agu, that means starting a start. Bushu Dima or simply Bushu is a major harvest festival of the Dimasa people. This festival is celebrated during the end of January. Officially, the 27th of January has been declared as the day of Bushu Dima festival. The Dimasa people celebrate their festival by playing musical instruments kram, a type of drum, muri, a kind of huge long flute. The people dances to the different tunes called muratai, and each dance has got its name, the prominent being the Dima. There are three types of Bushu celebrated among the Dimasas: Jidap, Shurim and Hangsu. Moreover, there are other important traditional festivals being celebrated every year on different occasions, at different places. Many of these are celebrated by different ethno-cultural groups, sub and sister cultures. Some of these are: other few yearly celebrations are Dole Utsav of Barpeta, Brahmaputra Beach Festival, Guwahati, Kaziranga Elephant Festival, Kaziranga and Deing Patkai Festival, Lekapani, Karbi Youth Festival of Diffu and International Jatinga Festival. Jatinga cannot be forgotten. Few yearly melas like Jonbeel Mela began in the 15th century by the Ahom kings. Ambubachi Mela, Guwahati etc. Music, dance, and drama. Performing arts include Ankian art, Onkian art, a traditional Vaishnav dance drama, Barona, popular since the 15th century AD. It makes use of large masks of gods, goddesses, demons and animals, and in between the plays a Sutradhar. Zutrodar continues to narrate the story. Besides Bihu dance and Hukari performed during the Bohag Bihu, dance forms of tribal minorities such as Kushanen Ritra of Rajbongshis, Bagurumba and Bodo Ichikla dance of Bodos, Mishing Bihu, Banjakekan performed during Chomankan by Karbis. Duma of T tribes are some of the major folk dances. Satriya, Sotriya, dance related to Vaishnav tradition, is a classical form of dance. Moreover, there are several other age-old dance forms such as Barpatas Bortalenritya, Diodonienritya, Oyarpali, Bula dance, Karshad Anglong Kardam, Nimso Kerung, etc. The tradition of modern moving theatres is typical of Assam, with immense popularity of many large theatre groups such as Kohinoor, Sankardev, Abahan, Bagyudevi, Hengal, Brindabon, Ityas etc. The indigenous folk music has influenced the growth of a modern idiom that finds expression in the music of artists like Jyoti Prasad Agarwala, Vishnu Prasad Rabba, Parvati Prasad Barua, Bhupan Hazarika, Pratima Barua Pandi, Anima Chowdhury, Lut Konwar Rudra Barua, Jayanta Hazarika, Kargin Mahanta, Deepali Borthakur, Ganeshilpi Dilip Sama, Sudakshina Sama, among many others. Among the new generation, Zubeen Garg, Jitul Sonowal, Angarag Mahanta and Joy Barua. There is an award given in the honor of Bishnu Prasad Rabba for achievements in the cultural, music world of Assam by the state government. Cuisine. Typically, an Assamese meal consists of many things as bhat, rice, with dal, lentils, mas or jewel, fish curry, with mangso, meat curry, or xaak and bhaji, herbs and vegetables. Rice is one of the main dishes of Assam, and a variety of different rices are grown and eaten in different ways. Roasted, grounded, boiled or just soaked. Fish curries made of roe, alish, or satol are the most popular. Fowl such as ducks and pigeon are used in dishes, while pork, chicken and mutton dishes are mainly popular among the younger generation. Another favorite combination is luchi, fried flatbread, a curry which can be vegetarian and non-vegetarian, and asar, pickle. The two main characteristics of a traditional meal in Assam are kar, named after its main ingredient, and the sour dish tenga. Korika is the smoked or fired meat eaten with the meal. The various meats more commonly taken include pork, fowl, duck and goose, fish, goat, beef, among Muslim and Christian communities, and pigeon, these being often involved with religious ceremonies. Other kinds of meat include grasshoppers, locusts, silkworms, snails, eels, wildfowl and other birds, deer meat and so on. Coriza, fermented bamboo shoots, are used at times to flavor curries, while they can also be preserved and made into pickles. Coroldal, banana flour, and squash can be cooked into sabjis. Many households still continue to brew their traditional drinks, variously known as lau pani, xaaj, panio, jou, jumai, hor and so on. During the time of the traditional festivities, guests are offered these drinks. Declining them is considered socially offensive. The food is often served in bell metal dishes and platters like nahi, maihang and so on. Literature. Most literary works are written in Assamese, although the local language such as Bura and Dimasa are all also represented. In the 19th and 20th century, Assamese and other literature was modernized by authors including Lakshminath Besbarua, Birinchi Kumar Barua, Hem Barua, Dr. Mamani Razam Goswami, Bilbendranath Saikia, Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya, Hiran Bhattacharya, Homan Borgohain, Barbananda Dekar, Rebati Mohan Dutta Chowdhury, Mahim Bora, Lil Bahadur Chetri, Saeed Abdul Malik, Surendranath Mehdi, Hiran Gohain etc. Fine arts. The archaic Mauryan stupas discovered in and around Golpara district are the earliest examples. c. 300 BC to c. 100 AD, of ancient art and architectural works. The remains discovered in Daparvatiya, Dopur Bhotiya, archaeological site with a beautiful door frame in Tezpur are identified as the best examples of artworks in ancient Assam with influence of Sarnath school of art of the late Gupta period. Painting is an ancient tradition of Assam. Shanzang, 7th century AD, mentions that among the Kamarupa king Bashkaravarma's gifts to Harshavardhana there were paintings and painted objects, some of which were on Assamese silk. Many of the manuscripts such as Hastavijayanava, a treatise on elephants, the Chitra Bhagavata and in the Gita Govinda from the Middle Ages bear excellent examples of traditional paintings. Traditional crafts. Assam has a rich tradition of crafts. Cane and bamboo craft, bell metal and brass craft, silk and cotton weaving, toy and mask making, pottery and terracotta work, woodcraft, jewelry making, and musical instruments making have remained as major traditions. Cane and bamboo craft provide the most commonly used utilities in daily life, ranging from household utilities, weaving accessories, fishing accessories, furniture, musical instruments, construction materials, etc. Utilities and symbolic articles such as sarai and boat are made from bell metal and brass are found in every Assamese household. Haho and Sartharbari are the most important centers of traditional bell metal and brass crafts. Assam is the home of several types of silks. The most prestigious are Muga, the natural golden silk; Pat, a creamy bright silver-colored silk; and Eri, a variety used for manufacturing warm clothes for winter. Apart from Zuorkuchi, the center for the traditional silk industry, in almost every part of the Brahmaputra Valley, rural households produce silk and silk garments with excellent embroidery designs. Moreover, various ethno-cultural groups in Assam make different types of cotton garments with unique embroidery designs and wonderful color combinations. Moreover, Assam possesses unique crafts of toy and mask making mostly concentrated in the Vishnav monasteries, pottery and terracotta work in western Assam districts, and woodcraft, iron craft, jewelry, etc. in many places across the region. Media. Print media include Assamese dailies Amar Assam, Assamese Khabar, Assamese Pratidin, Dainik Agradut, Dainik Janambum, Dainik Assam, Ghana Adhikar, Janazadaran and Niamia Bata. Assam Bani and Sadan are Assamese weekly newspapers. English dailies of Assam include the Assam Tribune, the Sentinel, the Telegraph, the Times of India and Eastern Chronicle. Thika, in the Karbi language, has the largest circulation of any daily from Karbi Anglong district. Bodo has the highest circulation of any Bodo daily from BTC. Dainik Jugasankar is a Bengali daily with editions from Dibrugarh, Guwahati, Silchar and Kolkata. Dainik Samayak Prasanga, Dainik Pruntojoti, Dainik Janakantha and Nababata Prasanga are other prominent Bengali dailies published in the Barak Valley towns of Karimganj and Silchar. Hindi dailies include Purvankal Prahari, Prata Khabar and Dainik Purvoday. Broadcasting stations of All India Radio have been established in 5 big cities: Dibrugarh, Guwahati, Kokrajhar, Silchar and Tezpur. Local news and music are the main priority for that station. Assam has 3 public service broadcasting service radio stations at Dibrugarh, Guwahati and Silchar. Guwahati is the headquarters of a number of electronic medias like Assam Thorks, DY 365, News Live, News 18 Assam, Northeast, Prag News and Pratidin Time. See also, Outline of Assam, comprehensive topic guide listing articles about Assam. Notes. Further reading. Government. Official site of the Government of Assam. Official tourism site of Assam. India. General information. Assam Encyclopedia Britannica entry. Assam at DMOZ. Geographic data related to Assam at OpenStreetMap.